Hey, what's our job here today as we solve linear inequalities? If you look at page 2 of this Algebra Online, lesson 18.2, I'm pausing here because I got the thinker thing going. We're going to graph solutions to linear inequalities in one variable. We're going to do that on the number line. We're going to write inequalities in one or two variables to represent our problem situation. And then we're going to solve linear inequalities in one variable. We're going to use tables and graphs and algebraic operations and undoing to do that. Pay close attention to that as we go through this. There's several things that are a little bit technical with that, so watch what's happening. All right, I would encourage you to get along in your paper there, look down into the opener, and maybe read through all the questions that are in the opener. You should have that right there in front of you. And what I mean by that is, if you go to this page 83, you have 4 things that you need to take care of for this core activity. There's some animations that go along with this. I am not going to do all of those animations with you. It's up to you to do some of this work to understand it. I'll guide you as you go through that, and I will give you some information in terms of giving you answers. But remember, all those answers are on Agile Mind. All right, let's see if they've got what we want here. All right, so a car company rental charges $29.95 plus 16 cents. We've seen this before. And he says that your boss is very careful with the company's money. She wants you to plan your business trips so that you will not spend more than $75 for your car rental fees. Hey, there's that $75 again. That goes back to the opener and what you were supposed to set up for your function. It says this, there's a relationship between the daily rental charge and miles driven. How can you use relationships to figure out how many miles her employee can drive while staying within the $75 limit? Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, this thing here where they're saying staying within the $75 limit is setting up an inequality. You can only spend up to $75. Think about that. What inequality would that be? It's asking you after reading this part right here to go ahead and hang on a sec. This always happens to me with this. To go ahead and look at question 1. Let's keep going into the next part of the animation to see what it is that they're going to help us with. I would bet that they're actually going to give you answers here, and they do. There's the function. There's the answer to the opener. That $29.95 plus 0.16, hopefully pick that up. Try to direct you with that. 0.16 times the number of miles, and that's going to be your rental charge. And so they're showing you here is the number of miles you drive. It gives you an output value. So every time you drive a certain number of miles, you're going to get an output value. That's your total rental. So look at this. If you drive 0 miles, you're still going to be charged $29.95. Now, that would be ridiculous. You wouldn't go and rent a car if you weren't going to drive anywhere. So that really isn't real. But the minute you drive 1 mile, now you're going to be spending $29.95 on top of that for the rental fee. But each time you go 50 miles, you'll see what's happening. I think I asked this question earlier. How much is it going to cost you to drive 100 miles? Well, think about how they got that total. All right, let's rewatch this animation because it's kind of cool how it is that, move myself here. It's kind of cool how you see the development of the linear relationship, the blue line, and then think about when it is that you've spent more than $75. You're less there. Oh, you went over the top of 75. You can't spend more than $75. Keep that in mind. See, look, they're telling you here, this is $101.95 for going 450 miles. You can't go 450 miles. If you go 450 miles, you've overspent. You've overspent the company's money. All right, let's see what happens next. So here's the question. Well, how many miles can I go and still be underneath this $75 total? Notice the inequality that's involved there. That's important. The amount you spend overall has to be less than or equal to $75. So as you look at this table, they're asking this question, how could I find out how many miles I I can go. All right, let's move on. And if you haven't answered question 1, you need to do so. So click over here and it says this. She wants you to plan your business trips so that you will not spend more than a $75 rental fee. That's the last part of that. So it says very at the beginning, write an inequality to represent the situation below. Look, guys, they gave that answer to you. It's right there in the online part. This is what we've been trying to teach you as teachers, that if you click through this, you get greater understanding with the math, but it also gives you all the answers that you need in answering the lesson problems. All right, solve the inequality you wrote in question 1 to determine how many miles you could drive. Right now we're back to, you don't have to create a poster, by the way. You're just going to do your work here, but now you're back to the solving process you did last unit. So how does this go? Here's how this goes. We're going to, hopefully this will work here. We're going to set up our inequality. And remember, that was 29.95 plus 0.16 by the number of miles had to be less than or equal to $75. So to solve this equation, I'm going to get you started here. You're going to subtract 29.95 off from both sides. And by the way, you can also see this on your graph, which they're going to take you through. But then I'm going to have 0.16 m less than or equal to 75. Now divide both sides by 0.16. And I want you to do that on your own. I'm not going to give you that answer. Finish that up to see, hey, the greatest number of miles. The most I can do is whatever that number is that comes about when you solve that equation or that inequality. It says here, list the 4 methods that you will be using in this topic to solve the linear inequalities. Well, let's go back here to Agile Mind and maybe they're going to help us in answering that question. So let's look at the next part here. Slow computer. Hopefully yours is faster than this. All right, there we go. So this is page 4. You're going to want to read through this. This goes along with some of the stuff I've already set you up with on your page. Read through that. I'm not reading it for you. You need to read this page, page 4, online, and get an understanding what's going on there and with what I just took you through. All right, page 5. Hopefully this again goes faster than last time. We'll see. By the way, you can zoom through this part of the video. I'll leave that up to you. All right. So it says you wrote an inequality. There it is. Car rental company gives you all that information. It says this, how many, here it is, right here. Read all the way through this, but the final thing is how many miles can you drive and spend $75 or less? They're wanting you to use all these different methods to solve and create a poster. This is question 2. I gave you one way, and that was the undoing way. If you want to go back and look at the graph, and that's where Desmos is awesome. Let me show you this. 29 plus, what it is X. You could do M. And then down here, they have a less than or equal to symbol, 75. And you're going to get this, everything, it looks like everything's the solution. But in Desmos, you have to do some zooming out to get to see exactly what is happening here. Oh, I'm sorry. I made the mistake here. Don't make this mistake. I don't want to put 75 in there. I want to put y, and we're looking for 75. Okay, so here's that same function that you guys would have seen if you look back at their example in the text. And theirs probably looks a little different. But now we're looking here. See, it looks like it's going up by what? 10, 20, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 there. And so you need to find out, well, where's 75? And so you can actually put in y equals 75. And they do something like this with you. If you watch the animations, and it'll help you find and determine, look at this, that solution. And it's got to be everything less than that. So all the number of miles less than the 75 mark right here. So less than this 281.563 represents all the number of miles that you can drive to make that happen. All right. That was long. I'll see you guys in the next video to help you get set up with the rest of this.